Hello and welcome to a Gooner Ramble podcast. It's a Euro special and we have a special guest with us again. I know you really all enjoyed him last time we had him on to talk about the signing of Mohamed El-Neni. Well, we've signed another midfielder in a similar sort of position. It's the £35 million man from Borussia Mönchengladbach. It's Granit Xhaka, and with me to talk about him is again from Switzerland himself, Oliver Zesiger. How are you doing, Ollie?
Hi James, I'm fine. And you?
I'm very, very well. You guys had your first game of the tournament yesterday against Albania. There's a lot of emotions going into the game, brother versus brother.
Right.
And you delivered. You won 1-0.
Yeah, we narrowly delivered, that's true. I wasn't convinced by the performance overall, but a win is a win in the end.
And like you said, you know, the performance wasn't very convincing, neither was England, but we'll probably get onto that more later in the other part of the special. But Xhaka himself yesterday, man of the match. That's just exactly what Arsenal fans want to hear, want to see. And a lot of us tuned in to watch him. I myself did. And I was very, very impressed. You know, within the first 3 minutes, he sort of 2-foot somebody. And I'm like, this we haven't seen this at Arsenal for years. This is great. I'm like, this is exactly what we need. But he had 6 tackles during the game, made 3 of them. Won 5 out of his 7 aerials, 87% passing, 101 touches during the game.
Yeah, that's pretty much Granit Xhaka in figures. That's what he always brings to the game. He brings the defensive part with tackling, with the man marking, and then he goes deep to collect the ball from the central defense if there's no good ball-playing defender. And from there on, he makes the play. That's pretty much Granit Xhaka in a nutshell. Do you know, did he see a yellow card yesterday?
No, he didn't. No, he managed to stay out of the bookings, which was quite impressive considering that tackle very early on.
Yeah, considering all the emotion, I'm surprised he didn't see a yellow card. So it's only a 95% of Granit Xhaka we saw yesterday, because the yellow cards are part of his game.
Yeah. I mean, they were ramping him up quite a lot over here in England. We had Thierry Henry as one of the pundits for the BBC, along with Danny Murphy, who was full of praise, which is weird, as Danny Murphy never praises anything Arsenal related ever, really. But Henry said what he knows about him. He's obviously seen a few clips and watched a few highlights and whatever else. But he said this guy is not fazed by the big occasion. Like when it's something massive's on, this is a guy you want in your team. And like we said, the pressure obviously facing his brother, and the parents were there as well. I know she had the half and half top on, which a lot of people were laughing at. But yeah, his brother had got subbed and threw the water bottle off, but he seemed composed and collected, didn't really let him bother him.
Yeah, that's Granit Xhaka. He told in an interview, I just finished an interview with him, I saw it, and he told the reporter that he was a bit nervous. It was a special occasion for him, of course, to meet his brother. They had some tackles, some battles against each other, but they didn't meet as much as I expected to. And he seemed unfazed. Yes, he really seemed unfazed. But that's Granit Xhaka is the guy that is always composed, cool, and rarely, if not for the yellow cards or the occasional red card, rarely loses his temper in that regard. So that really is a good description of Granit Xhaka. If everybody who saw the game yesterday saw the real Granit Xhaka.
And he made 3 chances yesterday. For me, the pick of them was the one for, hopefully I pronounced this right, was it Seferovic?
Seferovic, yes.
Yes, yeah, he laid on a great ball for him second half. And he did fluff his chance, sadly, but I thought that was a beautiful ball.
Yeah, that's what Granit is capable of, and unfortunately that is also what Seferovic is not capable of scoring. He scored in 6 months, he scored only 1 goal for Frankfurt, so he saw equal the amount of red cards than he scored goals. If you can play Granit Xhaka as a deep line playmaker, as he often did in Gladbach. But you can also play him as a box-to-box midfielder without a problem. He goes forward, he takes a shot. I know that you really wish to have players who take shots.
Yeah, well, I do particularly, yeah. But we talked about this with El-Neni, didn't we? And he scored a great one against Barcelona, and then he's been told to stop now. So hopefully, I reckon it'll be knocked out of his DNA by the time he gets to Arsenal that he can't shoot from range or whatever anymore.
He's already been Wengered.
Yeah. But As you were talking about Seferovic, I thought it was a bit weird that Mbulo didn't start. I remember last time we spoke, you amped up Mbulo to me quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. And you saw glimpses of that.
Yeah.
I know he had that one action where he won the ball in midfield or deep in the own Switzerland half, and he played a great pass into the run of Seferovic, who was one-on-one with the goalkeeper but sadly missed. Embolo will probably start against bigger teams like France, where Switzerland must counter-attack more than versus Albania, where Switzerland were in ball possession for about 55%, I think. He's quick and agile, and that fits the counter-attacking style better. And I expect him to start versus France, maybe even versus Romania. I don't know yet. But as I said, you saw glimpses of what he's capable of, and he's still only 19, so it's his first tournament, so he has time on his side.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And anyway, let's go on to the goal scored by Fabian Schär. It was a great corner in from the Stoke man, Shaqiri, who, a lot of people are talking about how good of a tournament he's going to have. And because, he started quite well for Stoke this season, scored that absolutely brilliant goal against Everton. People still wondering, did he mean it? I don't think it matters, does it? If you score a goal like that, you're going to say every time. Goal, yeah. But are you expecting a big tournament from him?
I expect him to lead our attacks because our strikers don't score. Shaqiri is probably our best weapon going forward. Mm-hmm. And I expect him to score versus Romania or France, and then we'll see. But he is very important to the attack because he's capable of beating a man with his dribbling, and not very a lot of Swiss players are capable of doing that. So he's the individual class in this team, despite on side with Granit. And he needs to play well for the team to play well. Yesterday he was decent. He had a good start, as you said, with the corner and some chances, some good balls. But then second half he was like the team. The performance was not as good as the first half.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you talk about the back for Switzerland. Obviously, you had a former Arsenal man in there in Dijerou, who a lot of Arsenal fans are so grateful he's gone. I'm trying to remember at least one or two games that I thought he was good for Arsenal, but I'm struggling. Yesterday, him and I think it was Schär as well at the back. It was a bit worrying at times, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was worrying. There was the huge chance from Albania's Sadiku in the first half, where the fullback of Albania, Hisai, played a great through ball, and Giroud was positioned wrongly, so Sadiku.
As per.
Yeah. We almost had a second former Arsenal defender in the squad with Philip Senderos.
Yes.
You think lucky that you got rid of him as well, I think.
Yes.
And in the second half, that was when Gashi had that great chance just 3 minutes before time. That was Schär's mistake, I believe, because he was the one who put him onside. And our central defense is not convincing because of those concentration lapses, of those moments of. Giroud played a pass into the feet of the Albanians as last man in the first half. I was ready to bounce my head against the wall after that. Those are the moments that happen, and unfortunately we don't have better central defenders. Maybe Tim Klose would have been from Norwich would have been a solution, but he was injured the last couple of months, so he was out of contention.
I will say as well, I was quite impressed with Sommer in goal for you guys. I thought he had a brilliant game, as well as Xhaka. I thought that he was probably the second best player out there, the goalkeeper.
I would even put him above Xhaka in this game because he saved. Yeah, he saved us to win. That save against Gashi was excellent, really, really excellent from close range. Really good reaction stop, and that's what Jan Sommer is capable of. And there's already talk about him maybe moving to Manchester City or so. But his problem is he's not very tall, and with shots from distance, he sometimes has his problems. And the Premier League and shots from distance, they're very, very good at shooting from 20, 30 yards out. So I don't know if that would be the right move for him.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And we talked earlier about Xhaka, 35 million coming in. He was one of the big Swiss transfers already made this summer for Arsenal. And there's possibly talk of another one in Ricardo Rodriguez, who I thought to start with had an absolute brilliant game. I thought he was tearing Albania up on the side there from playing at left back. And I've always watched him and admired him. I think his physique for a left back is incredible, because you look at him and you think, oh, he's just a big, strong guy. He's not going to be quick, but he bombs up and down there, doesn't he? He's really, really fast. But what do you think this is a transfer that's happening, or do you think it's a lot of talk to maybe get that move?
First of all, I agree with your assessment of Rodriguez. He had better games for Wolfsburg and for the Swiss national team in the past, but yesterday he was good. I think one problem was we lacked a bit of width against when Albania were down to 10 men, and we needed to play wider, and that was part Lichtsteiner, part Rodriguez was the problem there. But the second half, the Swiss team wasn't very good. Now, the transfer, I believe is realistic. I believe it would be a good transfer for Rodriguez and for Arsenal, because he's 23 years of age. So you have a first team left back for 7 to 10 years if you buy him right now. And I also know there's a buyout clause for, I believe, 25 million euros. And I also believe, I read that somewhere, that this clause gets smaller and smaller with every year. So it means next summer he will be even cheaper. But if you don't want company from, let's say, Manchester City or Real Madrid, then get him now. So I believe it's a great rumor. Xhaka and Rodriguez are very good, very close friends.
Yeah.
So maybe Granit will tell Wenger to get him. I don't know. I don't know. I hope so, because I would love to see two Swiss players at Arsenal, at the top club in the best league in the world. So I would love to see that.
Yeah, I mean, for us at the moment, there's a lot of talk of Kieran Gibbs. Obviously, he's trying to dislodge Nacho Monreal at left back, who has been absolutely leaps and bounds, like probably one of Arsenal's most improved players, let alone defenders. I think Monreal's come on so well, and there's talks of him going to Liverpool with Klopp. Kieran Gibbs, and obviously we'll need another left back to fill in, as I can't think of any really at the academy at the moment that are looking good. But if Rodriguez did come in, do you think he would be prepared at 23 to, he's at Wolfsburg, he's playing every week there and everything else. There's a lot of other clubs, I believe, that would be Champions League clubs that would take him. Do you think he'd sit at Arsenal and go, well, Joe, I'll wait behind this Monreal for a bit? Because Monreal's 30 now, and there's always talk of him going back to Spain eventually. Do you think he'd take a season sitting on the bench, or do you think he'd want to start every game?
Of course he would start. He would love to start every game, but you also know that in modern football that's not possible with Champions League and the two cups in England and the league and everything. I think he would fit in well. I think he would be borderline first teamer in his first season. He didn't have the best season for Wolfsburg. I mean, Wolfsburg finished 8th or 10th in the Bundesliga, and he did have some small nagging injuries that prevented him from performing at the highest possible level. So he needs to come back to get in form, get in shape, get in form before playing for Arsenal. But I would say he would be a very good fit and a very smart buy from Arsenal.
Good. That's good to hear. Hopefully, if we do happen, we can have you on again as well to talk about Rodriguez. That'd be great. But looking at the rest of the tournament, like you said, you got Romania and France left. Do you think France, obviously, they're one of the favourites for the tournament. They're one of the favourites to win the group. Do you think you'll finish second, Switzerland, and then go on?
I hope so. I mean, in the best case, draw against Romania would already be enough to secure second place, or to be in a good position for second place. And now after the win, I can say, I'm really hoping and I'm really thinking that we're finishing second. So that would mean that we're up against the group, the second from the group Z, I think, is with the Ukraine, Poland, Northern Ireland, and Germany. And then we'll see what happens.
Good. Well, Ollie, I know we both want to shoot off and quickly get on to watching the Germany-Ukraine game. So I'll say thank you very much for coming on at such a late notice. It's been great to talk to you as always.
Thank you, James, and thanks for having me.
No worries, thank you. Hopefully, good luck with the rest of the tournament. You'll probably get further than England. So
I'm not sure.
We were very embarrassed. I was very, very embarrassed and upset last night with that. So
I can understand. Yeah,
that's the way it goes with England, I'm afraid.
But
good luck for the rest of the tournament, though.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming on. Thank you.
Bye, James.
Thanks. Hello and welcome to a Gooner Ramble Euro special. Thanks for joining us again after the first part, which I did with Oliver Zesiger. And we've got another part here where we're going to talk about all the other games and maybe touch a little bit on Switzerland again as well. And I've got a special guest. He writes the blogs for the Gooner Ramble. He's been on quite before. It's Warren, or Was Gooner, as they like to call him. Was, how you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Thanks. How are you?
Yeah, very, very well. Have you been enjoying the tournament so far?
Do you know what? I love these tournaments. I watch everything. I'm a bit sad like that. I try and watch every minute of the games I can, and I really, really do enjoy them. But it's getting going. The first games are always cagey, but it's interesting to watch our teams get on, and obviously our players involved as well. So it's heating up.
Yeah, it's getting good, isn't it? And it's it's the second games coming up now, and it's all the groups are getting interesting. Obviously, with the people finishing third, getting through as well on technicalities and everything. It's gonna heat up, like you said. It's going to boil over, so hopefully we get some more good games. But let's start with the first game of the tournament, France versus Romania. A bit of a weird opening ceremony. Old David Guetta there, before he scored that great goal for Croatia.
Yeah, exactly.
He's out there. But the game kicks off, and it was a 2-1 win for France. And Koscielny was partnering Rami, which they were a bit worried about. Obviously, I think is it Laporte that's normally the first choice with Koscielny in the centre half, or Sacco.
And Varane as well.
Yeah, and Varane as well, yeah.
Big problems there, yeah.
But I thought they played really well together.
Yeah, it seems to me like a partnership that could blossom as the tournament goes on. I mean, it's always hard, especially with Costa, the way he plays. I think Rami complemented him quite well, and a few times they got caught, and there was a big chance of Geezer chested it down and done an overhead kick, nearly scored when Rami got caught a bit high. But you can see it's definitely something that's going to develop, and I think France as a team will develop as the tournament goes on. They're definitely one to watch, and that's why they're favourites.
And just as touching on Giroud, I don't know why, but when I watch him when they play national football, I'm not saying Arsenal. Arsenal's midfield for me on the world, let alone Europe, but he just seems a totally different player. Like, I just think he feeds like Payet and Pogba and all that. They just find him all the time. And I tell you, I don't know if it's because it's the country or whatever, but I remember the other World Cup when he done this run. I can't remember who France were playing, and he beat like 3 people, and he's blitzing through, and he did miss in the end. But he just seems that he does so much more than when he plays for Arsenal. Like he runs and chases things down, like Danny Welbeck does. He doesn't give it, these small margins and everything else. He chases it down all the time, and I'm like, if you did this more for Arsenal, mate, you wouldn't get this reputation, which I feel is quite unjust anyway.
Yeah, I agree. I do think he gets a bit of a poor rep at the Arsenal, and I can see why fans are frustrated with him. But as you rightly said, the service he's getting for France is phenomenal. And despite the ability of our midfield, I don't think we're utilising Olivier Giroud in the correct way. And I've discussed this in the past, but you look at the amount of times they deliver into Olivier Giroud. Literally, he's a 6'4" centre forward. They don't have him running the channels. They don't want him in wide areas. Just stay in the middle, link the play. As you said, you got Matuidi, Pogba. I mean, Payet, I thought he was phenomenal. I really did. I know the goal at the end, but even that aside, he was so good that the manager, and fair play, that he had the bollocks to take Pogba off and stick Payet in number 10 role and get Kingsley Coman on a bit of width out there. And early in the game, Giroud, he had 2 good chances, and the first one, I felt he tried to head it to the near post. He got a bit ahead of himself. First chance in the tournament. Unlucky, you let him out. Then he had the free header from the corner, and you started thinking, is it going to be one of them days for Giroud? He's got to take one of these chances. And then Payet again coming in off the wing. Giroud made a great run, took it into feet, made a yard, shot straight at the keeper, and I started to think, I've got him top goal scorer for the tournament.
I remember you saying. I was going to say, but I fancied him as well. I thought with all these midfielders in the service, like you've said, And in the friendlies and everything else, he's been banging them in for fun. I remember, I think you tweeted something today, hasn't he? He's got like 13, 14 starts or something for France.
Yes, 13 in his last 13 starts.
Yeah, you might get a good return on that. I remember you said, is it 520 or something? You said you win
something like that.
Yeah,
that'd be lovely.
yeah.
But the one thing I'd say for Olivier Giroud, as much criticism as he gets, and I saw a brilliant interview he done, I think it was for French Football or something the other week, where he literally says, I don't care about what anyone else thinks because he knows his abilities, he knows what he's good at, and he kept plugging away, and he's brave and he's strong. I mean, the keeper was having a right flat, get no mistakes about that, but the delivery comes in again, and Giroud is up, he's strong, he's first to the ball, and that's a difficult header. He makes it look easy. He's headed that ball and spun all in one movement, and it's gone top bins, and he was just so happy, and all the stick he's got and the misses in the game, it was so easy for him to get his head down and be subbed off for Gignac, and that could have been his tournament over. But he responded. And he does get them chances. And I mean, I love Giroud, I really do. I can understand with response to Arsenal fans that we could improve in him, but he is very, very good, and people need to start realising that. And the way Payet played with him, and the French are only going to get stronger, and I do think Giroud could be... and really, no other big-name striker has really got off the mark yet in the tournament. So it's a good chance for Giroud, and they've got a good game up next. So hopefully he keeps scoring and keeps improving. Yeah.
And I know you mentioned the Payet goal earlier, but do you want to touch a bit more on it? I mean, for me, I thought it was a beautiful moment for the guy. I mean, I was watching it with West Ham fans, and they just wouldn't shut the fuck up with the song. And I was just like, all right, yeah, he scored a good goal and everything, but for the tears and everything else like that, I was like, no, fair play to you, mate, because he's been overlooked quite a bit. He's 29 now. He's coming into that prime of his career, and I know West Ham have got the money to keep him, but I'm just looking at it and I'm thinking if he carries on the way he's going, he could be one of the players of the tournament here, and he's right in the shop window, isn't he?
Absolutely beautiful. The way he played, not just his crossing ability and his passing ability, his retention of the ball, his intelligence as well. He knows what Olivier Giroud wants, and he gives him it. Literally, even little runs in behind, like I mentioned, Giroud made that diagonal. Payet was running inside with the ball, and he knew where he was running. Slid it into Giroud's feet. That's where he wants it. And the goal, what can you say? Like you said, he cut inside, absolutely hammers it right into the top corner. What a way to start a tournament. And the tears and that's the beauty of football, and that is why you love international football, the pride of representing your nation, and you can just see it there. It just summed it up, and it's a great start to the tournament. A great end to the start of the tournament.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what we can really say about France, unless there's anything else you want to jump in on quick about them, or?
Nah, we'll wait for Ollie's hat-trick in the next game.
Yeah, definitely. Well, coming off that, we had Switzerland versus Albania, which I've touched on with Ollie in the first part, but I'll let you have some words here. How impressed were you with Granit Xhaka to start with? Because he had the most successful passes. I think it was 101 before, obviously, Kroos got all the passes and everything for the Germany game, which we'll touch on later. But what did you think of Xhaka? Because I was watching it at home, and my dad was texting me, and he was like, James, this guy's not just playing fantastic. He went, he looks like a future captain of this club. He went, the way he's... he said, Flamini does the point and shout, but he went, this guy's grabbing him by the shirt, and he's like, come on, the passion in that bloke. I think because of obviously the family ties and everything else, but he just didn't let it faze him, did he? He was not fazed by the occasion, and he's spraying the bloody passes out like he's got an Uzi for a foot, you know what I mean?
Oh, mate, yeah, definitely. And like you mentioned, the passion and his footballing manner. And you said about the brothers, they're actually the first brothers ever to face each other at the Euros.
Yeah.
A little fact there. But, I mean, you see his brother when he got subbed off, going ballistic, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Throwing the water bottle, and obviously it runs in the family. But with regards to Xhaka's performance, it was everything I expected him to be, and everything that I've seen previously of him. I thought his intelligence, he splits the centre-backs, comes and receives the ball to feet, and he just distributes. Whether it's through the lines, whether it's long, he's so solid and so strong. And yes, it is against Albania, 10 men Albania. And like you said, Tony Kroos made the most part. He's only made one more pass than Xhaka, though. And I think Xhaka is what surprises me, and I think surprises people and will surprise people in the Premier League, is his mobility as well. I touched on it with a conversation with Clive in the other podcast, that he reminds me a little bit of Nemanja Matic in the way that he can carry the ball and he's mobile, even though he doesn't sort of, do you know what I mean? You wouldn't strike him as being that mobile, but he really is surprising. And the way he takes control of games, and as I keep saying, it's only Albania and it is 10 men, but it's really, really promising, and it's something that Arsenal have been missing for a long, long time. And as you say, let him settle in, but my God, this bloke, he really, really could be something. And I'm so happy, and obviously with the other pod, you've touched on it massively, but just, I really am excited to see him in an Arsenal shirt.
Yeah, I mean, the first 3 minutes, he sort of makes this big 2-footed lunging great tackle, and I'm like, oh my, here we go. I'm like, we got one. I'm like, we ain't had this for years. Like, I can't remember the last type of player that does that. That was when Flamini was proper in his prime, like years and years back.
Flying in, yeah.
I'm like, I think he's going to get a few red cards, for Arsenal. I'm a bit worried.
Yeah.
He kept himself in check, but I'm like, he can't be doing that in the Prem. He'll be sent off straight away.
No, but I mean, I agree. Obviously, nobody wants to see us getting players sent off. But through the years, I mean, look at Vieira. Time and time again, the geezer was a bully. He was an animal, but he did get sent off, and he did get a lot of sending offs. But sometimes you need that. You just need that in midfield. I mean, there's a difference between obviously Vieira and Flamini. Flamini getting himself sent off. I mean, he's not anywhere near the class of someone like Vieira. But I mean, Granit Xhaka. It's well too early to even make comparisons to any players like that, but he really does look very accomplished on the ball. He looks strong in the tackle. He's a leader. He's got everything we've been asking for a long time. So, fingers crossed.
No, I mean, Henri was doing the punditry, and he said what he liked about him is that he said, when I was at Arsenal, and I'm like, I've said this for years, that he went, Arsenal at the moment have got players that when the game's a flash, they're flash, but then when it's a Stoke or someone like that and it gets a bit rough and rugged, they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And he went, this guy, he's like Vieira, he's like Edu, he's like Parler, he's like all these others. He's like, you want to play a nice, proper game of football, we'll play a game of football, but if you want to go out there and you want to take chunks, I'll take chunks out of you as well. He's got that balance so perfect, Xhaka, I feel.
Exciting, isn't it?
Definitely. And the next game we got Wales, obviously. 2-1 win, and that for me was a brilliant game. I put on the old Twitter that Wales' passion and everything is infectious. I got really wrapped into it, and I've got no Welsh ties at all in my family, but you sort of take it on and everything else. And Aaron Ramsey obviously was out there. I know you're a big fan of Aaron Ramsey.
Mm-hmm.
I know you've had a lot of discussions about Aaron Ramsey with certain people. I don't know if I should start and then you can rebuttal, but for me, I thought he had a dreadful game for the most part. He was trying the back heels and everything, and they were failing worse than my love life, mate. I just did not understand, and I thought his assist was brilliant. He mucks up his touch, somehow gets an assist. I thought that was fantastic. That for me just described Ramsey in a nutshell. But I can see, it was a big occasion for him, and Bale obviously handled it really, really well. I'm terrified about our next game, England. I know we'll touch on them later, but I think Bale on his worst day is still 100% better than any player that's in that England team.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. And Ramsey struggled. He didn't have his best game. He sort of huffed and he puffed and weren't really blowing the house down. And the Welsh took the lead with that free kick from Bale, and then the equaliser. Ramsey's chasing that fella back, and Edwards don't really cover himself in glory, and he just breezes between the both of them. And
I just thought to myself, take the card.
Yeah.
Just take the card, mate.
Yeah, and that's again, a bit too nice. Do you know what I mean? But Ramsey again, he's another player. He just does not stop going, and the goal. I mean, before that goal, he had a perfectly timed run into the box, and he was found, and his header, he just got under it and headed it just over the bar at 1-1. And I was thinking, that's your chance, Rambo. Like, really, really could have scored there, mate. But then he keeps going, he keeps getting in them positions, and he took for the goal, for the assist. When you watch it back, he takes a brilliant position between the lines, and he's found really well. I think it might be Ashley Williams that plays the ball through the lines.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and he takes up such a good position between the centre backs and midfield, and just takes 6 players out of the game just by being in that position. He allows the ball to run, and he turns. He knows he's got the time, and where you say it was a bad touch, it weren't a bad touch. Sorry, mate, it weren't the best touch. But when you watch it back, I mean, he sent Skirtle to the chip shop. He just put just little feint, dropped him, Skirtle's on his arse. He cuts to the right, and it is a heavy touch. But Robson Kanu scuffs his finish in, and it's an assist, and Wales are going absolutely mad, and they deserved it. And at 1-1, they could have easily buckled. They were getting absolutely hammered for about a 5-10 minute spell, and they stood up strong. They defended well, and they kept going. And Ramsey's sort of performance, I think, was a bit like the entire Welsh team as a whole. I mean, they just keep going, and when things ain't going right, they don't hide. And it was nice to see, and they've been a long time coming, and I've been waiting for it for a while, so fair play to them, but not too much fair play, because I don't want to see it on Thursday.
No, I just felt like, that, like you said, they just didn't put their heads down, did they? They just ground it out, and I mean, fair play to them as well. They were getting kicked a bit. Our Skirtle and all that stayed on the pitch. He punched, I don't know which one it was. He punched him in the face in the first half, didn't he? Pretty much,
unbelievable. It is unbelievable.
And Hamzic and some of the others, they were taking absolute lumps out of each other. It was a brilliant game to watch for that type of thing if you're into it. But I was like, someone's going to get sent off here, surely. I'm like, he's letting way too much go.
Exactly, mate. But it was definitely an enjoyable game, and fair play Wales.
Yeah, it was. For me, the Italy-Belgium game's been my favourite game of the tournament. But next to that, I think the Wales game I enjoyed so much. I really, really enjoyed watching that. But is there anything else you wanted to touch on with Wales, or you?
No, that's good. I enjoyed that, and fair play for the assist for Ramsey. Weren't his best game, but we all know what he can do, and that little bit of quality getting in between the lines, and in the end, it created the goal. So
I think Thursday he's going to have a lot to say on Thursday, which, like we said, we're a bit worried about. But
he has to, doesn't he? Yeah. He has to. That's a game where he has to really show what he's made of if he wants to make a big impact for his country.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I've got the Poland game next. Obviously, I know the England game come next, but we'll finish up on that. But for Poland, Wojciech in there, he's still technically an Arsenal player, even though it looks like he'll be going out on loan again to Roma next year to help. Basically had nothing to do.
It was really was a nice day at the office for Wojciech, wasn't it? I mean, there's not really a lot you can say about his performance. We weren't really tested. Yeah,
I mean, towards the end, he done his usual where he ran out and you're a bit like, whoa. But other than that, nothing.
One thing I would say for him is I do feel he looks like he's growing up. And people forget he's still so young for a goalkeeper. I mean, you have keepers out there like Van der Sar playing till he's 39, winning league titles, and some keepers don't come to their prime till they're in their mid 30s. And because Szczesny's thrown in a limelight so young, and that ain't his fault. And there's a lot of keepers that have gone on, left Arsenal, and made Premier League careers who are decent keepers. And I think Ospina is another one I think he's a very, very good keeper. But in Ospina's position, he's only a backup to Petr Cech, whereas Wojciech Szczesny was expected to try and win Arsenal Premier League titles, and I think it was a lot on his shoulders. And he's gone to Roma. By all accounts, he's done quite well there, and I actually thought he looked a bit more assured. He looked more comfortable with crosses. He looked a bit more grown up, but it was an easy game for him. And I do like Wojciech, and you can't deny his passion for Arsenal Football Club. I mean, if he goes in the summer, then good luck to him. And I'll always love that moment when he took out Bale with that one-handed punch at the lane, and the old wink and all that. And he knows what it means to be an Arsenal player, and he's been at the club a long time. And another thing for him, people forget he broke both his arms when he was very young. Once he just joined Arsenal in the gym accident. So that is the equivalent of a outfield player breaking his legs. Yeah, you know what I mean? So and he has had a lot of stick, but I do feel a bit sorry for him how young he's been, and because he's so cocky and confident, he's got to carry that with him, and that's why he gets a lot.
You're a goalkeeper. They're
all nuts. They're nuts.
I've watched countless times the Schmeichel, the Premier League Legends things and all that, and you're sort of watching it and you're like, you come across as a right dick, Schmeichel, but he backs it up. He does back it up. Yeah. You need that with a goalkeeper. But the thing, like we said, I think every Arsenal fan can see Szczesny's potential and how much of a good goalkeeper he can be, but it's just, the lapses in concentration and just the silly stuff off the field and everything. It's just like, knuckle down, because you've got all the potential in the world to be a great goalie. For many, like you said, for years and years.
Yeah, and he's still, as I say, he's still only 26 years old. Like, it's mad for a keeper. 26, I mean, there's very few. I mean, don't get me wrong, we've had Neuer and De Gea and people like that. They're exceptional, and they will have prolonged careers. But there have been other keepers I mean, Edwin van der Sar was good at Fulham and places like that, but he really come into his own when,
Yes.
do you know what I mean, in the middle of his 30s. So I wouldn't say Szczesny's Arsenal's career is dead. I mean, if Ospina leaves, would he come back as a number 2 behind Czech and learn for a few years? Maybe. Or is he too intent? I mean, he's been playing first-team football for Roma, so he's no mug in the Champions League. So tough one.
It's a good league to learn in as well, Old Italy. I mean, their defenders are quite good, so the goalkeepers don't really get tested much. But it's a good place to learn and ply his trade for a bit if need be. And moving on next, I got the Germany game. Old Ozil, the old soul representation there, and what a great game. You know, what a good watch for me again. Ozil first half for me. I don't know if it's this whole false nine and everything. You know, people go, "Oh, you just hate false nines because you're English and they have to play a striker." I don't. You know, Spain played a false nine in what was it, the final or whatever, the years gone by. It was absolutely incredible. Absolutely steamrolled them, but. For me, I was just like, Götze's not doing, you know, he's not running the chat. And you can see Ozil getting a bit angry, which, you know, I've seen it a few times at Arsenal, but he was really getting pissed off. You could really see he's like, oh, for God's sake, you know, getting really, really angry with him. And then second half, he had that chance towards the end, and I thought, the goal's gaping, mate. Smack it in the corner. Go on, show people that you can finish. And he hits it straight down the keeper's chest. But then, you know, he waits, and I retweeted the tweet you posted. I don't know if you want to speak about it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, he's just such an intelligent man. Not just footballer, he's an intelligent man. And like you said, his frustrations with Mario Götze, he's clearly not cut out to play that role in that team. And I actually think Andre Schürrle done a very good job. And you've also got Mario Gomez if they want to revert to playing with an actual number 9. And Germany, before the start of the tournament, were my tip. And I can understand people's reservations with the possible lack of goals, but I think they've got options, and you know what the Germans are like. But Mesut, I actually think he did, like he said, he was quite quiet, but people often criticise him for being, we call him lazy or lackadaisical, but I look at the way he plays, and he only uses energy when he needs to use energy, and that is why in the 91st minute of the game, there's a break, Mesut Ozil runs 60 yards, and he's not only got the quality, he's also still got the fitness to put the ball. That's just unbelievable. Just the cross to Schweinsteiger is a fantastic finish, by the way. But to burst 60 yards and put it on a sixpence for his 24th assist of the season in all competitions with Germany and Arsenal is just fantastic. And I hate to see it when people, I mean, Arsenal fans, it's not Ozil being lazy, it's the fans being lazy, because you don't actually witness what he does. He's just so intelligent. He's constantly picking up the ball, and because he's so simple, he's not one of them players that will get the ball and beat 3 men and do an unbelievable skill. All Ozil wants to do is get the ball, find the space, move the ball, move into the space, move the ball, create a goal. And he's so beautiful for the way he does that. And when you see him in the 91st minute like that, steaming away and just put it on the sixpence, you just know he is a world-class footballer, and he was so lucky. I say it every time, I'm so lucky to watch this man play for Arsenal, and I love him. I really do love him. I love seeing him smile as well. It makes me happy.
Again, it's like we talked about with Jury. He gets a bad rap and everything like that, but that's the thing. He is that player. Like so many people say to me, "Oh yeah, but he's so frustrating, isn't he, James? And you know, he's a number 10. He don't score enough goals, and he don't do this, and he don't." But I'm like, for a whole 90 minutes, if there's that one bit of magic that's needed, he's one of the only few in that Arsenal team, along with Sanchez and a few others, where I'm like, he can pull that rabbit out of that hat. He can. And he done it again. He done, like you said, 60-yard run, and you can't even. I watched it over and over again. I'm like, that is pinpoint accuracy. Like, it's unbelievable. And
it's on
Germany,
the money.
Before the tournament started, I was like, they're my favourites to win. I was like, I think they're going to dynasty it because they're just that good. I mean, all right, he's not an Arsenal player, but Julian Draxler, when I was watching that, I'm like, bloody hell. I'm like, I wish we bought him the other year. I'm like, this guy's incredible. I was like, he just loves it. He looks great. He looked absolutely great.
And they've also got Sane on the bench, who is fantastic.
Yeah, I've seen Giles and yourself talking about him a lot. I know a lot of people are talking about Sane as well, a lot of Arsenal fans.
Yeah, well, by the looks of it, City will well in for him. No, I'm a big fan of him, and he would be. I'd love to see him in the Premier League, but Mesut as well. Like watching him for the last God knows how long at Arsenal and for Germany. If I, with that old stupid player cam thing they used to have, if I could sit in my seat and have a little thing on my phone with one player for 90 minutes while I'm watching the game, I'd have Ozil, because he literally, I could sit there and watch it, because the way he just drifts into areas of the pitch, he goes into places people don't see him do it, and it just looks so simple. Wherever there's space, if it's wide, if it's in behind, if it's short, if it's run, it's deep, he just goes everywhere, and he's just beautiful, isn't he?
It's absolutely beautiful play. Was there anything else for Germany you wanted to touch on, or?
No, I think they're gonna improve. I think they're definitely gonna get stronger. So, as I think a lot of teams will, so it's gonna heat up this tournament, and it could be anyone's really.
The next game I put down here is obviously Czech Republic versus Spain. Spain had Hector Bellerin in, which I was so happy when he got called up. I was a bit worried because I thought, here we go, he's going to play every game. He's going to show the world just how he is, and it's going to be a whole summer of Willy Woney. But no, he didn't play, sadly. I personally didn't watch this game as I was working. I know you said that you kept up with a bit of it. I've seen some of the highlights. I know they can be chopped and cut. So, but for me, Rosicky, he played 88 minutes. It didn't seem from the highlights that he was really involved much. I don't know. Was he involved much?
He looked like a player that had played 19 minutes of football this season.
Fair enough.
And that is what he is. And Tommy, we all love Tommy, and we all know what he is and what he offers, and he's so good at running with the ball. He can drive. A few times he got the ball and did drive 30, 40 yards, but it's never come to anything. And it's just a shame the way his career's sort of petered out in a way. And we all know he's not nicknamed the Little Mozart for no reason. But it's a shame. It's a shame it's ended like that, and it's a shame he's got such little footballing time. But the fact he's the youngest player ever to represent the Czech Republic, and he's now the oldest player ever to represent the Czech Republic. So
speaks volumes to the man, doesn't it? And Czech as well. I saw he made a few good saves, but then obviously at the end, if you leave Gerard Piqué that much room with a free header, he's going to score it. 9 times out of 10 he'd do that in his sleep. But I put here about a man who's he's gone from being the ultimate target to the top target to all right, Vardy's the target now, so he's the backup. And it just keeps changing all the time. I feel that in terms of transfer window speculation, I think the journalists have a bunch of football players on a wall. They throw a dart, it hits him in the face, and then they have the clubs. And 9 times out of 10, it just hits Arsenal with the darts. But what did you make of Morata? Because I was watching it, and for me, I think that in that Bayern Munich game, he looked sensational. But when you look at his league record, he didn't really do much. All right, he had a bit of an injury and all this, but when I was watching him yesterday, I'm like, he don't seem that different to Giroud, really, to me. And I'm like, is it? He didn't. People go on, oh yeah, but he's a bit faster and everything else like that. All right, I only watched the highlights, but I'm like, he had 2 or 3 sitters there, and he fluffed all of them.
Yeah, I'm a big Alvaro Morata fan, and he didn't have his best game with regards to finishing, and that is the one thing you would say against his sort of record as such. He doesn't score as many goals as he should, but he's still, thing is with him, he's still developing. And my favourite thing about Alvaro Morata is his movement in and around the penalty area. I think he just finds himself, like Giroud does, like you mentioned, and Van Persie, the other season when he scored all them goals, his ability to be free in the box is what got him all them goals. And you had Jorginho and Walcott getting down the byline and crossing it, which is another thing Arsenal don't do. But Morata is very similar in that way, that he can find a yard when there ain't a yard to find. And them chances he had, he should have converted, definitely. But I was so impressed with his off-the-ball movement, and he got hooked on 65 minutes or something, so obviously the chances need to go in at that level. And that's where you would sort of say, is he worth that money? I look at Alvaro Morata possibly becoming what Van Persie done, and I think he does have the potential in him to score 30-odd goals a season. But I also see Olivier Giroud being able to do that if you play to his strengths. But Morata, his movement was absolutely fantastic, and it's something you can't really teach a striker. And it's something that for Arsenal is so important with the way teams sit deep. I think we do need someone who's going to find a yard in the box when there ain't a yard to find, and that's my only thing where you mentioned Jamie Vardy. I mean, we haven't really seen him play time and time again against teams that sit deep. And will Vardy be intelligent enough to find that yard of space instead of 20 yards of space? And I think that's where Morata comes into his own. And that is the difference between Morata and Vardy for me. But he didn't have his best game, and he's in my dream team, and I was fed up with him for missing them chances. But I do enjoy watching him find the space, and I think he's a very good player, and he will develop. But with regards to next season, I still think Olivier Giroud could be number one if Morata come in, and it'd be good competition. And I know Welbeck's out for a long time, but you have other options as well. But so I do like Morata, and I wouldn't jump the gun on his finishing just yet, because he's so good at getting in them areas. I think them goals will come.
I didn't, like I said, I didn't watch the full 90 minutes. I know there's obviously games coming up. Hopefully, if I'm not working and everything else, I can check him out for 90 minutes and have a proper watch of him. You know, I'm not going to be one of those blokes that straight away, no, he's shit. I'm not just going to throw that out. Just from what I saw, he had 3 decent opportunities that he could put away. You know, most strikers would put away, and he just didn't tuck them in. But I'm not going to slate the bloke, so no.
Oh no, right. He should have scored.
Well, moving on to the nation where we're recording from and everything else. Good old England. I thought we'd start with the violent side of it first. If we're not going to win any trophies for the football, maybe if there's the deck chair throwing Euros, we might win that one, mightn't we?
Well, I'll be honest with you, if anyone's got a few quid and they put it in, I think I was going to start up a business selling patio furniture out there, because I think they're going to be in need of it. I might make a few quid.
Well, I was glad to read that apparently the days after, a few of the England fans helped clean that all up, because that for me is the worst thing. Like I hate that on a night out when I go through my town centre. You know, when there's the old 24-hour McDonald's and all the kebab shop, I hate all the bags being left out. There's bins there. I don't know how you can't walk to a bin and throw it away. That pisses me off something rotten. I'm not OCD or anything like that, but just I can't understand it. So I was glad that they went and helped clear all that up, because you know we get a bit of a bad rap, England fans, and I know that trouble follows us everywhere we go, and it's a select few that are mugs and ruin it for everybody else. But that was a well organised, Marseille ultras and Russians as well that a lot of that kicked off. I know we joined in, but that was terrible, weren't it? And how a flare gun can get into a French stadium after all that's been happening, especially with what happened in America and everything else this week. How a flare gun can be put into a ground and shot an opposition fans. No idea. Baffles my imagination. Baffles me.
Yeah, and JD, what you mentioned, I had loads of friends out there, and I was communicating with them at the time, just sort of saying, like, I saw the scenes and obviously thought, bloody hell. And I mean, the media representation of the whole situation, I think, has been very poor from our point of view, because when you actually take a step back and see the eyewitness account, hear the eyewitness accounts, you've got videos on YouTube on bloody GoPros of hooligans running around, nutting people, booting them. Like you said, these people aren't related to football. That they are trained fighters who have come over to address the hooligan culture that hasn't really existed in England and hasn't followed England at major tournaments for a few years now, probably since Euro 2000. I mean, you'd have been unlucky to find any in Japan, because it's a bloody long way away, and I don't think they fancy a tear up. But obviously there has been Ukraine and Poland. These tournaments have gone by with very, very little. And the vast majority of England fans, yes, there's idiots. There's idiots for every country. There's idiots that sing stupid songs. There's idiots that smash bottles on the floor. I mean, been away with Arsenal in Munich and been embarrassed that bottles are being smashed everywhere, outside bars, on floors, and it's such a beautiful city. And you get that with any club, with any set of fans, and them English boys out there were set upon. And I was speaking to my mate this afternoon. He's back now, and he's going back out there as I'm going back. I'm going out there on Thursday for the Wales game, and I was speaking to him, and he said he come around the corner, and there was literally, there must have been 50 odd in lines of 5, and they were organised, regimental. They were chanting. He said it looked like the army. He said they were all monsters, absolute units, and he said I couldn't believe what was going on. And he was part. I don't know if you've seen the video of the standoff on the little alleyway, and it's being filmed from up above, and he was amongst the England fans there, and he just sort of said there was bottles being thrown to and fro, and the England fans were attacked from all quarters, and he said people were trying to escape. They were so well organised. At every corner you turn round,
they're still there.
These Russians were there. Yeah, and by all accounts, they were coming in, and just people sitting there having a beer, having a sing-song. I mean, this is madness, absolute madness. And the way the French police, he said they got tear gassed, and that was their way of reacting with it. They stood there, watched it all happen, and then just tear gassed everyone while the Russians all escaped. And thankfully, the sanctions have been put in place by FIFA, and I mean, we've seen a little bit more tonight in Lille that they're trying again, and obviously tomorrow's going to be a big flashpoint because they're playing Slovakia, and that's only 15 miles from where England are playing. And I mean, I'm going out to Lille myself unless I can get a last-minute ticket. But it's just a shame that the press are reporting it the way they are. And I mean, there's been a post posted by Andrew on the blog tonight on the Gooner Ramble blog. It's absolutely brilliant, and my mates, the way they told me and the way Andrew's described it, and everyone should read it. And seeing Gary Lineker come up and Roy Hodgson and Rooney and everyone sort of pinning it on the England fans. Yes, there are idiots out there. Yes, there are people who get too drunk, do silly things. But realistically, this was a lot more than a bit of football violence. This was regimental.
Did you see the old video of Joe Hart that did the rounds? Where he's like, stay where you are, stay safe. You know, Joe Hart's even can't, trying to say, all right, it's nice that fans can sit to it, but there was no segregation there at all. And like I said earlier, for everything that's been happening in France over the last year and everything else, for me, that policing is I think it's shameful, really. Like, there's no other word for me to say it. I couldn't believe how badly policed that's been, considering everything.
Well, JJ, if they had got involved when they saw these gangs of Russians, straight away the police were on it, a lot of that would have been eliminated, a hell of a lot of that, because and in the ground is, like you said, it's the most disgusting thing of all, because there are families there, kids there, clambering over, falling over, hurting themselves. You're in a football stadium, you've gone there to support your football team. We're not an army. It's not an army. We are there as England fans to support our country, to sing, have a good time, have a hell of a lot of beers, do some silly things.
Beers, yeah,
they're the ones. And it's just a shame it is the way it is, and I just really, really hope that, I can't see it going fine, and I think it could be carnage again in Lille, but I just really, really hope that somehow the police it. I think there'll be a lot more British police over there. I also think it's helped a bit with the English and Welsh, because I think they'll be looking out for each other as well, which is good, because you wouldn't want to see a flashpoint between England and Wales, and with Russia and Slovakia there. I mean, I've seen Slovakians sending threats as well in the past few weeks to England fans, so bloody carnage, mate.
It's not good. It just takes away from the fun of the tournament, and like you said, the kiddies are there and families and everything. It's that upsets me something right. I mean, I remember years ago watching the Man United Roma game, and there's the kiddies there with the dad's holding him, and the dad's getting batoned to absolute mush whilst he's trying to protect his son. Just sad stuff. Sad stuff.
Yeah,
but I do agree, if everybody reads Andrew's blog and everything else and keeps up with Andrew, he was tweeting as he was there as well, and it was a brilliant insight into everything, because the media, the mainstream media, will put their spin on it, but there's definitely if you can get the eyewitness stuff, it's definitely worth checking out. But let's get on to the England game itself. Jack Wilshere come on as a sub towards the end. He had a few good runs in my eyes, but for me, what an absolutely disappointing game. I haven't spent a day in football. I'm just a bloke that comes on here, chats with his mates, says what he believes. Sometimes in the comments I'm praised, sometimes I'm criticised. I love all of it. I love any interaction. But for me, at any level of footballing fan, anybody can see you go 1-0 up. The combined age of their centre-backs is 70 years old. Now, they've got to come out now and play. So any proactive person in football would go, right, Rashford, Sturridge, Vardy. Because Kane, for me, had a crap game. Not going to slate him. Not his fault. He just weren't working for the boy. Get someone else on. Play the ball's in behind them two, the combined age of 70. And let's just have it, get the 2-0, take it home, lovely days, 3 points. But bloody hell, no, we're going to, bring on James Milner, who, alright, I agree, if you're going to need to shore a game up, James Milner's not the baddest choice, but he lets the bloody cross or whatever come in. Danny Rose, it's a mismatch anyway, but he don't even bloody jump. For me, you've got to at least jump. And it's 1-1. And we've got a bloody draw, and we're going into a Wales game. Just what a load of rubbish. I'll let you have your rant and rave as well.
I think we didn't play too badly, but we also didn't play too well. And I think that in the final third we were atrocious. We created a few chances early on. Lallana had Walker done well to get down the line, and we're all a bit narrow. And Jack for me has to play every game for England. I really do think he does. I was a bit disappointed with Dele Alli, and as you said, Harry Kane didn't really take the game by the scruff of the neck. Kane looked absolutely shagged.
Yeah.
He really did from early doors. He didn't look like the same Harry Kane, and Harry Kane is this season by a mile the best Premier League striker. Vardy's had a great season, but I think Kane on his day is unplayable. I've seen him tear teams apart, not just by running in behind, but by getting the ball to feet, running at defenders. And I saw a lot of people giving Raheem Sterling a lot of stick, and he reminded me so much of Oxlade. I mean, my Mrs. M said that. She said to me, how did you think he had a good game? It was like watching Ox. He was beating men, getting to the byline, and just nothing was happening. But I felt that Kane and Ali didn't get anywhere near close enough.
Before the game started, he didn't make his lineups. I'm like, how can you not play Sterling? All right, he's not had the best season.
Yeah.
He's transfer. He's
the only winger.
But he's the only one with a bit of pace. I'm like,
Exactly.
Rashford him and maybe Sturridge on his day, all right, his legs and all that, and Vardy as well has got pace to burn. But I'm like, he's got to start. You've got to start Sterling. Like, who else is there? You're going to play Rooney on the wings? Come on.
Exactly. And we was well on top in the game, and creating chances just weren't coming, and they had the odd header, and you sort of think, they're going to nick one here. But they're a terrible team, realistically. They're an old bunch of old players who ain't very good footballers, and they were there for the taking. And that come to the edge of the box, Rooney shot, great save by the keeper. Rooney done well to get over it, kept it down, but he palmed it onto the bar, and you're starting to think, ain't going to happen. And then Dyer steps up. I do not know what that keeper was doing. It's a fantastic strike. He's hit it hard. The keeper, if you watch it, he took like 3 steps forward as Dyer's running up to the ball. I mean, what was he trying to do? I can't explain in any. I mean, bloody, I'm not a keeper. I'm probably the worst keeper you'll ever see in the world. But surely the keeper shouldn't be taking 3 steps forward. Was he trying to meet the ball? I don't know. But that's lovely, and you think, there we go. There's the goal. Like you said, they have to come out now. And he took Rooney off, which I thought was absolute bollocks. Couldn't believe he took Rooney off. I didn't see why. He can keep control of the game. He's good on the ball. Jack Wilshere should have come on. I agree with that, but I'd have took maybe Dele Alli off for Jack and kept Rooney in there. Kane should have come off for another striker, whether it was Vardy or Sturridge. Then the wing, I mean, bloody hell. To go James Milner sort of sums Roy Hodgson up. He's the most simplistic, boring old fart
it's just cautious,
I've ever seen in my life.
It has to be safe. He doesn't take any risks whatsoever.
I mean, fair play. If we'd have won 1-0, everyone would have gone out and said, well done, Roy. First game, 3 points, happy days. Weren't the most sparkling, but we won. But we didn't. Do you know what I mean? And that sub, like you said, I mean, the bloke's just done it was like a little dance around Milner before he crossed the ball. It was embarrassing almost. And as you say, when he's crossed the ball, I mean, watching it back, I was watching it again earlier because at the time I'd had copious amounts of alcohol when I was quite late in the game. But like you said, there was Danny Rose had tucked in, and Dele Alli was at the far post, and Dele Alli didn't tuck in, and Rose, by the time Rose had dropped, Ali was too far behind, and he sort of he didn't really even have to jump, the geezer, between the two of them to win the header. And it just looped in, and you just sort of think, what a wasted opportunity, because you go out with 3 points, joint top of the group with the Welsh. That game, you're guaranteed in a point will see you through comfortably, second in the group more than likely. But now, I mean, I was on the pod before the Euros, and I did fear for us getting knocked out in the group stage, and it sounds ridiculous because 3 teams can go through, but If we draw against Wales and the Russians beat Slovakia, we're in the poo, because if Slovakia, that will be that game and that game only. Because if Slovakia beat us, we're out. Because Wales will be on 4 points, we'll be on 2, Russia will be on 4, and Slovakia will be on 3. Then that could be us sort of out of the tournament. But I don't want to say it like that, and I do think we have got improving, but I'm just gutted that he's shown his cautious side already when everyone knows that the back four ain't the best in the world, and defensively we're not the best in the world, but offensively we have got. I mean, why has he taken that many strikers to leave 3 of them on the bench? It's bloody brain
another
dead.
thing with the
He's got
strikers, he's a bloke here that's got, is it 49 in 72 Premier League games in Harry Kane? He's taking corner kicks. He's 6'2". What the fuck is that all about? I'm sorry. I'm like, he's whipping in the balls to 5'9" bloody Lallanas and Sterlings and all. I'm like, what are you doing? I agree with what Shearer said. You know, we had Shearer over here. I know other people got pundits everywhere. But they asked him, Shearer, you know, Alan, if they asked you to take a corner, and he said it politely, but you could tell deep down he just wanted to be like, fuck off.
Yeah. Are you serious?
Are you telling me that Rooney or someone else like Dele Alli or someone else like that can't ping a corner in? They didn't even beat the first man, the majority of them, when Kane's taken them.
Oh, mate.
I'm like, I think Kane needs to go to him. Nah, I'm not doing that anymore. If that's the case, if he's been told to do it, then he needs to man up himself and tell Roy, nah, I'm not doing it.
Well, I see a thing. He took more corners in that Russian game than he has for Spurs all season. And Harry Kane, he's good in the air, man. He's a target, mate. He's not like a centre forward that don't really get on the end of things. He's good in the air, and I see it made me. I was foaming at the mouth. I see an interview earlier with Roy, and they sort of said to him, why is Harry Kane? He's like, well, Harry Kane, good delivery. Goes on and like all this, and you're sort of thinking, well, yeah, he has got a good delivery, and even though he didn't show it, he can hit a ball. He's saying, he's the best striker of the ball in the team. I'm sorry, Roy, if we haven't got a midfielder in our squad that can deliver across, then what the bloody hell are they doing in the team? And it's so frustrating. He's a centre forward. I mean, Thierry Henry obviously took corners because he was, let's be brutally honest to him, dog shit in the air.
I remember
very rarely
one header against United when they were time wasting. It was absolute scenes. I remember being there. But other than that, I couldn't tell you a time he scored a header for us.
So I'd like to see my take on the next game, the Wales game. I think we've got to go for it. We have to go for it. Let's be honest. They are very, very average footballers, surrounded by Ramsey on his day as a top footballer and Bale is a world-class footballer. And that's the danger. You've got to be careful of these players. But don't show them too much respect. We've got to go at them. We've got to be England. We've got the players to do it. I mean, I personally, I did enjoy Sterling. Kane, if he's as tired as he was, I'd be inclined to start Vardy or Sturridge. For me, I know we haven't got another winger for the left, but I wouldn't mind seeing Dele Alli out there, give him a bit more freedom and less importance, if you know what I mean. I'd rather see Jack or Rooney in that role between the lines, getting the ball, and Ali does that fantastically, but he just seemed to struggle a little bit, and we've got other players that can do it, and I want to get Jack in that team. So I would like to see Dyer, by the way, goal aside, I thought he had a fantastic game. He's just everyone loves an Eric Dyer in their team, don't they? And he really, he's not technically crap either. He's quite good on the ball, to be fair to him. And it's nice to see him running around like a nutcase, getting stuck in, like loving it. And Jack gives that as well. Rooney don't hide from a challenge. We could have a bit of fight about us and give Dele Alli, with the amount that Danny Rose bombs forward, I don't think it's that important to sort of have someone out on that left. I want to see Sterling on the right running at his man. Just run down the wing.
I'm no Danny Rose fan. I'll freely admit that. Not just because he plays as well. I just don't rate the guy. And I was looking at it and I was like, all right, if you're going to start Walker instead of Klein, then you've got to have Bertrand in there because they're both going to commit. And all right, these Russians are old and they're not, but you can't have both of them. You know, we've seen it at Arsenal. You need one that stays behind and goes, right, all right, I'll do this if you're going to go gung-ho and everything else. But I'm like, that's going to bite us in the arse if you keep, for me, you can't play. I know they play together for Spurs and everything else like that, but that's because they got, like you said, Dyer's there and all right, they had a crap game against Italy, but Old Vertonghen and Toby, they muck up for them, they cover it. And I'm like, I'm sorry, for me, Gary Cahill, he's carried by John Terry. Years ago, I was like, I was jealous when Chelsea signed it, but watching him, I'm like, no, he's carried by John Terry carries this bloke. He looks awful.
The thing is that JT would walk in his team.
Yeah.
He'd walk in his team, JT, even now.
I'd rather play Smalling than Stones. I know Stones has had a bad season, but I'm like, redeem yourself. Redeem yourself, Stones. I'm sorry, Cahill was... I couldn't see it yet the other night. I thought he looked ropey as anything.
For me, moving on to the Thursday game, we just go out, be brave, attack, show no fear. We've got all these young players, we've got all these exciting players. Let's show it, Roy. Stop being the boring, old, predictable man you are. Like, just relax for a bit. Let the players go. Do you know what I mean? Just let us play. Like, it's so frustrating. But hopefully, as the tournament goes on, we see ourselves get out of the group. We can still win the group. No two ways about that. 2 wins, we'll win the group. So, I really hope we can start.
Honestly, for me, that first 10 minutes is going to decide that whole game for me. I think if they go a goal up, then we fucked it.
Yeah.
Straight away, I reckon if they go a goal up, we've absolutely bollocksed it. That first 10 minutes is going to be absolutely crucial. I'm like, if we can get a goal early, then happy days. But I'm like, if we go a goal down, then I can't see us coming back.
Yeah. Well, like we discussed, we've got to respect them. They've shown incredible passion, and like you say, I've hooked on it as well. I love watching it. Pride for the country, but we've got that. We've got that in our locker. We've got players that love a fight. We've got a fight about us. Jackie Wiltshire, Rooney, Dyer, the 3 midfielders there for me. Them 3, I'd play them, and I'd watch us go. Dele Alli's a bit tenacious. Like, we've got so much there, and I just really hope we just let the reins.
You know, we could, we can grind and we can do this, and you know. English people, you know, me included sometimes, you know, all the time, oh yeah, they work really hard. I'm like, yeah, but hard work gets you wet, you know. Hard work gets you so far. You got, you know, let's have a bit of sparkle on it as well. Because, you know, all right.
Yeah, we've got the men to do it, haven't we? That's the frustrating thing. This time round, we have got the men to do it. We've got players that have been very good, that are very skillful, that are clever on the ball, intelligent, and can do things. Do bits, and we need to do it. Just please, boy, I'm begging for the nation.
Yeah. Well, if I can take your prediction for the England game,
I'm gonna. I said before we're going to the group stage, and I was a miserable man back then, and I saw the first game, and I'm a miserable man now. But as I'm travelling out there, so I reckon we could really open up on them. I reckon 3 or 4-1.
Well, I can see it being a draw. Sadly, mate, I'm sorry. I think it's got draw written all over it.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Well, as far as from the first round, have you still sticking by your prediction with Germany, or has it someone else shown that you changed your mind?
You know what? This tournament is really there for the taking. The Italians are a tournament team, organised, and they looked. Conte had that team really going well, and he looked inside, and it'd be interesting to see whether he plays that formation in the Premier League, because it would be bold. But that they've shown up well. The Belgians didn't even get going, but it's the first game, and I always think the first game in tournaments are always cagey.
Well, Italy normally start badly, then they come strong, but for them, they absolutely steamrolled it last night. I was very impressed.
Yeah, the French have got so much depth; it's frightening. I mean, the players they can bring off the bench in games, it's just absolutely brilliant, and they're gonna get better. The Germans, as we say, they're gonna get better. And England, if we do what we can do, you never know. You never know. I've still got Clive's words in my head from that. Done a beautiful chat about it, and I'm still believing, and I wouldn't be going out there otherwise. So,
well, I want to thank you for coming on, and by all means, stay safe out there, mate, please. And
will do, mate.
Let us know and enjoy yourself out there. But thanks very much for coming on, and we'll all regain again. Hopefully, you know, there might be a few more of us to chat with. But thanks for that, that's great stuff. Cheers, and that's been a Gooner Ramble Euro special. So take care and enjoy all the games wherever you're listening from.